being a good ally is about stepping up and being there so that trans people in your organisation or in your family don't have to be the ones that are always doing the work to correct somebody. So, for example, if you're in a meeting or you're having coffee with colleagues at work and somebody starts talking in a negative way about trans people, perhaps they've seen something on the TV, read something in the newspaper, then it should be up to you as an ally to be the one that says, well, actually, that's not true. You know, all trans people aren't as bad as people say they are, or they're not out to destroy the concept of gender. It's about you being the one doing that as the ally and not the trans person having to do the emotional labour every single time to correct those wrong attitudes.
I think also, for me, an example of being a good ally that springs to mind was having been in a work meeting and someone got my pronouns wrong. Before I could correct that person, someone else at the meeting said, oh, actually, I think PK's pronouns are they, them. The person who'd made the mistake apologised, and the person who issued the correction then said, actually, it's really good if you apologise and then you say thank you, because then you take the onus off the trans person from having to say it's okay that you hurt me, and actually move more towards a step of getting really quite excited about making change and that cultural inclusion. And so that's a moment that really sticks in my mind as an example of good allyship. A common misconception is that the A in LGBTQIA+ stands for ally, when in actual fact it stands for agender, aromantic or asexual. Ally isn't an identity, as we've said, it is something that you do, and you don't get to proclaim yourself an ally. You demonstrate that you are an ally through your behaviours and the way in which you support and advocate for the community and are willing to put yourself at risk to do that. Because the risk you face as an ally will always be less than the risk a trans person or marginalised person will face speaking up for their own rights.
An example I like to use is, if any of you are cyclists, so you're thinking about cycling, you will have a person at the front of the pack that's the one at the front. They're taking the wind, they're taking the rain, they're taking everything else, and then other people slip in behind them. And so as an ally, you're the one that's at the front, you're taking the flak, you're taking the rain, the wind, everything else, and you're stepping up and allowing the person, in this case the trans person, to be in your slipstream and to take a rest from facing the constant flak that we get in society.
So for me, being an ally at work again comes down to that concept of risk, and if you're fostering a culture of allyship, you are encouraging and creating a space that is safe for people to take risks to support others. It becomes second nature, and we practice compassionate curiosity with ourselves and others, and so trying to put ourselves in different people's shoes and perspectives and act from there and reach understanding and move away from things like tolerance to acceptance.
And for me, it's also about creating a culture where you're willing to learn, to listen. So be it events like, doing things for Trans Awareness Week or LGBT History Month, running events in your organisation, learning from others, getting speakers in, just creating that culture where you're wanting to learn about different people's experiences of all types of communities, not just trans people.